The rioting and violence are proof that government is not in control and that the governing party's time is running out. That's the view of former military intelligence analyst Anthony Turton, and he joins us now. Anthony, very good to have you with us. So you are saying that government leadership is not in control. Did anything make you change your mind when you saw the president speaking earlier this evening?
Well, good evening to you and the listeners. I thought the president came across very well, very calm, collected. I think it's important that we appreciate that things are very fluid on the ground and very dangerous. And while we as outsiders looking in can have all kinds of opinions, those on the inside looking out might well be dealing with a different set of issues. But I think the important thing is that we've been through a very difficult period of time. And I think we're kind of at the mopping up operation now. That's my personal view of it. And I think we will now start unraveling what really has been behind this whole thing, which I think I've always said has been a lot more complex and a lot more orchestrated and organized than we were initially led to believe.
I wonder what you make of him in the beginning. He walked onto the podium, then he walked back off, and then he surrounded himself with his military police staff. I mean, when you see that sort of thing happening, it sometimes suggests, we've seen in the past, that there are suspicions of a possible coup. I mean, he's really showing the commander-in-chief there.
Look, I think the talk of coup is an interesting one. I am of the opinion that Jacob Zuma has, in fact, came to power initially through what I call a coup. I've written about it in a book. So I believe that the first coup that Jacob Zuma was involved in fact, was the Polokwane Conference, which, of course, was facilitated by the then intelligence agencies that were in control. And shortly after Polokwane, if you look historically, Jacob Zuma then became the president, and immediately after becoming the president, he then changed the structure of the intelligence services from the Secret Service, where I used to serve, and the National Intelligence Agency, which was the internal arm, sort of FBI equivalent, if you like, and he restructured them into the State Security Agency, which in my view has always been a dodgy thing. I've been writing about this in a national security journal just recently. So I think that was a dodgy move, but it speaks to the fact that he always reached out and lent on his on the security force people, particularly the intelligence people, the covert people. And of course, if we now do a parallel between the SSA and the old Bureau of State Security, they're both state security agency and Bureau of State Security. They're both looking to secure the state from an embattled president alienated from his own people. So that's what state security is all about.
I mean,
and of course, if you look at the
talk, sorry, excuse me, jumping in here, that social unrest was on the cards. We've seen the growing divisions between the rich and poor, and the impact that it's having. A lot of people don't have food. But let's talk about the role of Jacob Zuma in that, inciting that violence. I mean, it clearly came as a surprise to the president and to his security cluster, even though we shouldn't be surprised. Should they all go? I mean, if it's a surprise to them, we're not safe.
Look, well, I think that the State Security Agency has been captured for a period of time, and in my view is going to have to be put under the spotlight and really cleaned up, okay? If you compare that to the Bureau of State Security, as I was doing just now, the Bureau of State Security collapsed after they misappropriated 30 million rand. The State Security Council, the State Security Agency, SSA, has recently misappropriated as much as R1 billion. So it's orders of magnitude worse. So I can't see that there will be no fallout from this. As to what exactly it's going to be, I don't know. As to where they were involved, I personally believe that there's certainly every indication that at least elements of the SSA was involved. As to who they are and what they were doing, I don't know. The beauty about the modern world, and particularly the use of social media to incite violence and sedition, insurrection, is that it leaves a forensic trail. So if you have an investigative capacity, you can now dig into that forensic trail and start, putting people, linking people to events, etc. And I do believe that the agency has that kind of capacity. I'm led to believe that they do have it. So whether they are trustworthy enough to do it, I don't know. But I believe that there certainly is a forensic trail, and let's give it time for that to pan out. New cycle might want to get ahead of that, but it'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, the president is confident. He says he knows who they are and that they will be arrested. What do you make of the fact that Thulani Dlomo handed himself over? I mean, he says that he has nothing to do with this. He's going against suggestions that he possibly did.
Well, we don't know who was involved where. This we don't know. This will have to come out in a proper investigation. But the fact that he handed him over is probably a good thing, because once you're known and once you've now become essentially a fugitive of justice, then the forces of law and order are after you. And the SAPS does have that capacity. The SSA does not have the capacity to arrest. That's an important distinction. So any arrest has to be done by the police. And the fact that they're breathing down their people's necks now, well, it can't be comfortable for them. But of course, anyone in terms of our law is innocent until proven guilty. So let the law take its course. But I believe that you will start seeing movement rapidly in that direction now.
How important is it to our resuscitation as a country, the fact that so many communities worked together? How can that be used to make this a better, safer place?
I think that we've been through a pivotal moment now. We've literally been through a cleansing period, I think, because some of the bitterness and anger, particularly of the racist divide in South Africa, the racial divide, I believe has come to a head this week. And we saw in the darkest moments of this period of unrest, we've actually seen a deracialization of the whole thing in South Africa, where on the one hand there was an attempt made to incite racial violence, but that completely failed, dismally failed. And we've seen people mounting defences on the barricades, where black, white, pink and green, they've all been alongside each other. You've seen police working with militia. We've seen Muslims and Christians working together. So if anything, this has backfired, and it's served to unite the country. And I think that is a cathartic moment. So I'm actually quite upbeat and quite bullish about this thing.
Let's leave it on that upbeat, bullish comment. Anthony Turton, thank you very much.